next presenter is going to be Ross Barnes. Ross is the CTO of M6 in the UK. And this presentation is going to be about the use of data in creative. So if we could have Ross down. Also, as he comes down, I will be playing the challenging dual role of moderator and MC. So that's going to go really well.
Hello everyone, I'm Ross Barnes. I'm the CTO of M6. We are a media agency part of Group M. And I'm going to take you on a journey through the lens of Toyota and Datorama about how we are enabling our creative cousins in our ad agencies to use data to inform their creative decisioning. Okay, M6, we are part of Group M, one of our wonderful prestige partners here, but we're also part of what's called the AND Partnership, which is a creative agency-led group. So we have a very good creative empathy, which why we'll be able to talk about how we use data for creative activation. We'll talk about Datorama. We're Datorama super users, so Datorama plays quite a lot of a journey in what we've been doing with Toyota for the last 18 months. We won Toyota in 15 European markets 2 years ago, and uniquely won both media and creative at the same time. And the reason for that is the work that was coming out of Toyota was very, very good, but centrally Toyota felt that they didn't have enough command and control of the messages that were being produced, the creative that was being generated, and also the effectiveness of that creative. So they looked at us as the AND Partnership and M6 to deliver them a view of effectiveness through data, so a lot of marketing intelligence. And I didn't know the FAIR framework, but it appears that this pretty much replicates that from Francesco's earlier presentation. So making sure any data that they had was actionable and provided insight, making sure they could trust the data that they'd seen, making sure that the teams that they were employing, but also agencies, had the best resource, and that everyone had access to data for transparency and insight. That meant Datorama was really a really important partner for us. In the first 6 weeks, we built in 16 markets, 200 dashboards, 300 active users, 400 data streams using 2 billion data points. And this was a very big challenge. The data came from many different places and had to get buy-in from many different people in a very complex organization such as Toyota. But what I want to talk to you about is the campaign called We Choose Hybrid. This is our first campaign for Toyota, was our first campaign for Toyota, and was the first ever Toyota campaign that was not model-led. It was actually talking about the drivetrain of Toyota hybrid products. And what we surmised during our planning for this product is that people don't use hybrid cars for many different reasons. One, they think it may be for tree huggers or hippies, or two, they may think it's for Uber drivers. So we had to find a way to work with Toyota to use data to show why people were struggling to grasp Toyota as the leader in hybrid technology. We started that in a very simple way, and this started from the media planning. So looking at behavioral data signals, generally digital, which would allow us to show in these cohorts whether someone was warm to Toyota as the brand or whether someone was warm to hybrid as a concept, and started to group our audiences into these 4 cohorts. That allowed us to build a media ecosystem, of data-led creative from a DCO point of view. So Givox being powered by the data that sat within our marketing platforms, and Datorama to deliver a bank of creative assets based on whether people were warm to Toyota, warm to hybrid, or both. So from a media activation point of view, that's all well and good. It doesn't really sing data-driven creativity. It doesn't really sing audience or people-led marketing. So we had to go another step to bring our creative agency on board. And that was about using the data that we have access to as part of WPP. So that's using M Platform, which is Group M's proprietary audience mapping system based on behavioral data points digitally, and then mapping that up with Lightspeed, which is a tagged survey platform. Surveys are coming back, everyone, that allows us to ask much more textural questions about people's behavior, attitude towards certain subjects. So we asked 10,000 people in MM5, which are the 5 big Toyota territories, about their opinions about why they were warm to hybrid, warm to Toyota, or how they felt. And what this allowed us to do is build a much more human-facing segmentation for our creatives. So people who were warm to Toyota but weren't warm towards hybrid, it really turned out that because they didn't really understand what hybrid was as a concept, so you have to plug it in. Well, you don't. It charges itself when you drive through the petrol drivetrain. Also, some people just don't want a Toyota hybrid. So what we had then is a very rich data set that allowed us to go to our creatives and say, these are the kind of messages you should be making, these are the kind of assets we should be doing. And I think as a media agency, and our global CSO says this, the most important thing you can do as a media agency is really start to influence the asset list that the creatives are pulling together. So often, the creative's already generated by the time a media agency gets on board. But if we can bring this to the front, understanding the data, we can produce the right creative and be the most effective use of our budget for our clients. And that's what happened. So we created hybrid education videos. So there's 50 different videos that we created explaining all about hybrid, which we can serve digitally, but also above the line. We talked about hybrid conversion, so why you would choose Toyota for a hybrid drive, but also disruption about what hybrid means for the planet, and then also leadership, saying Toyota has been the lead hybrid technology provider for almost 20 years. And it meant that our asset list was significantly larger than it's ever been before. It wasn't just a 90-second shot of a lovely car going along a mountainside. It was 150 master assets, which we produced centrally, maximizing effectiveness for our clients' budget, but then made available to all the markets. And as these cohorts are available at a market-by-market level, it meant that we could do some transcreation. So we ended up with over 500 assets, which we could track locally, and we could track their usage, which means that when we started to deliver our media plan, based on where people are in the journey, we can start to deliver the right message at the right time through both DCO, but also clever media planning of non-addressable channels. And then, using Datorama, we can start to look at the effectiveness and also the consumption of each individual asset as it takes an individual down that user journey. And what that means is, as this is a case study, obviously a very successful campaign. I won't read the numbers, but it won the this campaign, our first campaign for Toyota, won the Grand Prix for Effie. And what we think is using this data and making it rich and more human for our creative planners or our ECDs gives you a great opportunity to build much more insightful creative campaigns. And what have we got next? We're as we've talked about earlier today, we're looking at the race of integrating first-party data to understand our customers as well as our potential customers. We're introducing data sources from things like telematics, so the connected car, where are people driving, how do people drive, what kind of insurance do they have. We're looking at leveraging unstructured data such as social sentiment. And lastly, we're bringing these cohorts to life, not just in the marketing departments, but also in the after-sales, finance, and other parts of the business. Thank you very much.